when you have coupons or you have special offers, these are still events. So really, we're only talking about news and events. And the gentleman there, he mentioned Mahalu, where you have an updated wiki and people add it, just like Wikipedia. But if you semantically tag events with data, with time data, then they can be searched. So you do get real-time search. And this is what I do at City Ultima as well, because we're semantically tagged. So we semantically tag event-driven times. And then they can be searched externally using a search engine that can deal with semantic to pull in real-time information. But it's only news and events. And events covers things like promotions or special offers, because they're time-based. So that's just a comment.
Anybody want to respond to that?
Yeah, it goes back to how you can get, I think, structure around that data so you can present it in a meaningful way and search for it in a meaningful way. But you touched on something else before, which I think is again a difficult one. And I think the big promise of what we're all trying to do is deliver the most relevant advertising message to the most relevant consumer at the right time without compromising the service that you're offering, right? We're talking about your local, I don't know, dry cleaner being able to reach the people in the neighborhood and everything else. And I think that's great, and that's definitely the kind of the way that the market is heading. But the problem that creates is that you are addressing smaller and smaller, potential markets there and potential pools of money. And I don't see anything to make it easier to reach that market. So on one hand, the more targeted we become, and there's no, if you like, overwhelming, undoubtedly globally covered solution that is the number one if you leave Google on the side for the time being. So that's something, I guess it's a question to the sessions today, but I think that's a really interesting one and a really difficult one to solve at the same time.
The paradox of local monetization?
Yes. The more targeted you are, the deeper you go, the more difficult it is.
Smaller the audience. Yeah.
Yes.
It's can I ask a question?
Yep. Go.
It's a bit of a statement and also a question. I think it's no secret that social networking sites don't monetize as well as other sites, right? And that's for a reason, because people behave differently in different contexts. And I think the real-time search debate also is the difference between having the data as a business and what people are actually doing as consumers on a minute-by-minute or second-by-second basis. What's useful? Are you talking about the usefulness for people or the usefulness for businesses and people to target advertising?
Well, we're moving back and forth.
Well, exactly. So I think
that was rhetorical, I guess.
Well, just an example. At Google, we managed to do things like flu trends. Right now, we can predict flu trends before medical organizations because we can see the search data in advance of what they can see in terms of the pandemic. Now, that's real-time data as far as I'm concerned. Real-time search. It may be 2 weeks delayed, but it's very significant to some issues. I think things like like restaurant bookings, very pertinent on a local basis. It's no secret also that businesses like Yelp and Qype do very well in entertainment and in restaurants, right, and in food, and they don't do so well in other areas because people want that immediacy of the localness, and that's why they kind of lean towards localness in that real-time search, and that would be useful. But it's not going to cover all of the areas and all of the contexts of what we're looking for. Does that make sense? It's kind of
I would agree. So. I would agree, and I think that there's a layer of social interaction and activity that is inevitably now a part of local that will be discussed later. That is playing out in one context in this real-time discussion, which is sort of elusive, as we bleed from category into category. It means different things to different people. I mean, what's at stake? Let's just ask the question: what's at stake in not embracing this phenomenon, however you define it? For publishers.
The stake is Google will be doing it in a few months. Well, but they're not doing it because of the deal they did with Twitter last week or 2 weeks ago. So they now have access to the fire hose the same way Bing is doing it, and the same way Simon mentioned the Grease Monkey script. Everyone will have access to that kind of real-time data. which will be amazing to Twitter, which it will be very good for Google as well. But again, this will consolidate their position in the marketplace.
I think Google now have access to the Twitter Firehose, but you would expect they're asking themselves the same questions as we're asking right now. What is the application of this data? It makes sense within news. To what extent does it make sense within local? So, certainly for me, and to Russ's point, I'm most excited about the real-time opportunity for the business owner to have that information and be aware of people interested in their product within their proximity right now is extremely valuable to them. There's a potential for them to get an additional 1 or 2 customers. We're talking small stuff here, but these small business owners who I'm sure we've all spoken to are pretty lost when it comes to the world of local advertising, and this is one sort of step in a positive direction for them.
So our time is almost at an end. Is there a final question in the audience before I give these gentlemen the opportunity to make some final remarks about this subject? No? All right, why don't each of you say a final word or two that captures your recommendation, thoughts, takeaways, whatever, about this subject area. Let's start with Sebastian.
So two things. I think this new real-time world is a game changer, but I don't think the model or the form it will take is finalized already. I think this is still early in the game.
Yeah, I think for me it's not about real-time search. It's about if you like real-time me. I'm from somebody that maybe 10 years ago I would go to, say, well, 12 years ago to campus, check my emails, and then go on in my normal life and do the things I used to do. Now somebody who's connected, well, 16 hours a day, right? And I think that applies for most of us. And that opens up opportunities for publishers, for local advertisers, creates new behavior models for the users, definitely makes any product roadmap planning job much harder than it used to be 12 months ago. But again, that's not really new. But yeah, it's exciting. It's still a work in progress, and I'm sure if we have the conversation again 12 months from now, I don't think it's going to be any less interesting.
I believe it's useful to have a term that we can use, like real-time local search, but I don't think it's this new big bang thing. I just think it's an increase, a further move along the continuum to more immediate results that are more relevant. But as I say, it's useful to have a hook to call it by. I think that traditional publishers are going to have a problem with it because they've had a problem with local search anyway. And the problem's going to be that they have tended to regard large sales forces, on-the-road sales forces, as their assets. Take Yellow Pages companies. They are only an asset if you've got a product of high enough value to sell. But the sorts of products that small businesses are buying now from companies like ours and pretty much everyone else on the web aren't sufficiently high priced to support large sales forces out on the road with company cars and expense accounts. So I think the challenge for publishers is going to be to find the companies that can do it for them or that they can partner with to do it.
Can you get the final word, Andrew?
I better make it good. I think as long as demand is outstripping supply, we're going to continue to see innovation, new tools, new products in this space, which is exciting in itself. Well, a few predictions from me. I think we'll see faster products and we'll see easier and faster access of information, but the filtering is the sort of the key part of the puzzle for me, and how we can filter these results based on user intents and relevance to you, wherever you may be.
Okay.